Joining me for the second half of the hour, I have with me from the Fallen Warriors Memorial Organization. Introduce yourself.
I'm Jim Blatchford.
Jim Blatchford, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
And before we get into the background about the Fallen Warriors Memorial, let's get some background about you and where you're from. You're a veteran,
sure,
Vietnam era.
The Vietnam era veteran, right? My whole family, my fathers and all my uncles, my brothers were all military people. My son was is a veteran of Iraq and a wounded warrior,
right?
And so, fortunately, he came home.
So your son served in Army, Navy, Air Force,
in the Army, in the Big Red One.
Right, Big Red One.
He was in actually, because of ops security, I never really knew where he was.
Right.
But
in Big Red 1, for those that don't know, that's the 1st Infantry Division. Used to be based in Germany. Now they're stateside.
Yeah, at that time, he was based in Germany.
Right.
So.
And and you're a veteran of which branch?
I was in the United States Air Force.
Air Force. We have an opportunity to make fun of the Air Force here.
That's right.
Actually,
feel free. I could pass the test. Right?
That's fine. And what did you do in the Air Force?
I was a bomb nav simulator trainer.
Bomb nav simulator trainer.
Right. So all the navigators that worked on that were in B-52s.
Yep.
I repaired that unit, and then during the Vietnam era, I was over on Guam and supporting a mission from Guam.
Right. And so that you directly supported the teams that were operated in Operation Linebacker or Archangel.
Archangel. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So and the bombing of Hanoi, Haiphong, I was over on Guam. I even actually helped load bombs. So.
Yeah. And B-52 carry a lot of bombs.
A lot of bombs.
A lot of bombs. And there's just something about that BUFF, which I can't describe what that really means on the air, but the veterans out there know what it means. It means big, ugly, fat fellow. Yes. We'll do that. How about that?
There you go.
So and your son is in the Army. He was
my
wounded.
son's been medically retired, and he's out now. He's living up in Reno, Nevada area, and is working through the PTSD issues. That
I don't mean nice, but I mean he's working
through those. Those are it's tough, and in fact the fellows that I work with here at the Fallen Warriors, the founders are we all work through those with them. So fortunately, this has helped them with that issue. So and from one Iraq era and same generation as Afghanistan era veteran to a Vietnam era veteran, it is the Vietnam era veteran that has really stepped up and made it an easier transition, or at least the effort of making an easier transition, because of what you guys went through coming home after serving. It was a different era.
Certainly a different era.
I actually was not served coffee in a coffee shop when I was in uniform.
Right.
So it was, but it's great to see the patriotism now.
Right.
I walk through the airport. I travel quite a bit. I walk through the airport and see GIs and people walking over to them and say thank you and shaking their hands. And and that's kind of how the Fallen Warriors was founded.
Right.
If I could get into that.
That's a perfect segue.
A never forget attitude. And our founders, really, is John Cordova and Adrian Garcia were the two founders. And what happened was, and a little bit of the history was, we've lost a young fellow, a young Marine, up in El Dorado Hills from the Oak Ridge High School, who John Cordova coached him in soccer, and he was also my son's friend, and they actually went to the prom together. And so when we lost him, John decided to start this organization and to never let that name be forgotten.
Right.
And that's what we do. So we go to all the high school now. So we're into 8 high schools where we put in plaques for the kids that we've lost in the war, Afghanistan, Iraq, and also a second plaque for Vietnam veterans and all veterans.
And these are the kids that attended those high schools.
Right. And we start a scholarship in that high school in their name.
Okay.
So every year, I've had the privilege now. This year, I've already personally given away 2 scholarships, and we've got 6 more to go that other Fallen Warrior members give away.
And so students that are interested in this, obviously, it pertains to each high school. So I'll use Bryan Hall as an example, Elk Grove. Mm-hmm. So the Fallen Warriors Memorial has a scholarship in his name. And so obviously it's students at that high school
That's right. They contend for that scholarship. And what we try to do is get each school to set up a board to judge those essays that the winning scholarship person will receive. And that way, to propagate the name and to propagate what they did throughout that school.
Right.
And so they're, again, never forgotten.
So how many years ago did this start?
Well, we're on our 7th annual car and motorcycle show. So
okay.
I've been involved 6 years, and the first year that we saw it happen, that's when I got back involved. I found out John, who was a friend of ours, was putting this on. So that's where I got involved, and then we've grown since then.
It has grown incredibly. So in just 7 years, you've been able to get involved and partner with 8 schools in the area.
8 schools. We can get into more schools, but we limit our growth by the amount of money that we can raise.
Sure.
And so
do you know those 8 schools off the top of your head that you're partnered with?
Sure. Yeah. I can, in fact, I wrote them down just so I wouldn't forget here.
Awesome.
So, Ponderosa, up in Shingle Springs,
sure.
Oak Ridge, and El Dorado Hills, Granite Bay, Elk Grove, McClatchy, El Camino, Oakmont, and Del Campo.
All right, very
good.
So
we're in all those schools now.
And so students compete for the scholarship. They write an essay. The essay is judged. What kind of topics do the students have to?
And it's normally what a veteran means to them,
right?
And what we do is try to get the schools, their peers in their school, to judge the essay. Mm-hmm. And we get some great essays. And in fact, the one out of Oak Ridge that I just received Friday happened to be by the same person who actually designed our last shirt last year, which was a Chinook and a eagle surrounding the Chinook. It was right after we lost the SEALs,
right? Navy
SEALs.
Yep.
But again, the children and the advisors from the school, they spreads that word.
Sure. We're on the air this morning with Jim Blatchford.
Right.
Did I say it right?
Yep.
He's with the Fallen Warriors Memorial Organization. He's a member of their board of directors. And what they do is they organize and fund student scholarships in the names of fallen warriors that attended the area high schools. He just went off the list. They're partnered with 8 high schools in the region right now. And they limit their growth based on their fundraising activity.
Exactly.
And that's done. You have one big annual fundraiser a year. Is that how it works?
That's right. We have this year, and on June 9th, we have a car and motorcycle show and a motorcycle poker run that leaves out of El Dorado Hills Town Center. Mm-hmm. And again, it's Saturday morning on June 9th.
Right.
And we'll have probably 200 show cars, and we'll have judging for the cars. We have motorcycles. We'll have judging for motorcycles if they want to display their motorcycles. We have vendors that'll be there. In the past, we've had Medal of Honor recipients there, and so it becomes a big deal, and that's one of our fundraisers. We're also. How
do you raise funds from that? So does it cost anything to get in?
It doesn't cost anything to get in. Most of the money is from our logo apparel that we sell,
right?
Or we'll sell. This year we have a guitar that's being donated to us by the same fellow, the family, the Job family, that developed or built this guitar for the breast cancer awareness group here in town, and the Susan G. Komen. In fact, yesterday they just had their big walkathon.
Okay.
And they raised over $6,000 on this guitar.
Nice.
And so we will raffle things off like that. We have local sponsors pay us. We have sponsors, Mercedes-Benz in El Dorado Hills.
Yep.
One of our sponsors, we've got, Tri-West, who serves military.
Right.
They're a big sponsor.
For those that don't know, Tri-West is what is used in the West area for both active duty and retired service members. It's basically their health care. So if I or you were active duty, obviously the military covers our health care, but our families are covered by Tri-West, part of the Tri-Care system. They've been in the news lately, and we'll get into that in maybe another episode.
Okay,
but Tri-West has been very proactive in partnering with veteran service organizations and nonprofits.
Right. They actually sought me out. Right. I didn't have to seek them out. Another Runyon family up in El Dorado Hills is another big donor that we have. And so, but we're grassroots. If you would like to sponsor us, you can go to our website. We have a list there, or access to sponsorship and PayPal, or I'll contact you directly, and feel free to call me.
And what website is FWMO.org?
That's it. You got
FWMO.org.
Yep.
I should have written it down here, and for some reason I'm missing some of my notes here. I'm all prepared, and of course I'm missing the notes. So the website is FWMO.org for the Fallen Warriors memorial organization. They put together and compile funds and establish student scholarships at area high schools for seniors to compete for and take with them to college. How big is a scholarship?
Right now, it's $1,000 per school.
Right.
Okay, and what we're going to do is we're looking at raising the scholarship funds and going to more of a pool, so we have more schools competing over a pool, and try to get up to the 5,000 level.
Oh, nice.
And so we're also going to start, which means we have to raise more funds, so we'll have other events that we're going to put on this summer. One of the events will be on August 25th, where combining with a dojo in town. I guess it's a karate. I'm not a karate expert, but it's a karate. It's called the Warrior's Call.
Okay.
And we're looking. It's going to be an elite type call for karate match, and we're looking for. We'll probably have over 300 entrants. We're told.
Oh wow!
So yeah, we're going to be co-sponsoring that.
And that's happening August
25th.
August 25th.
And then the date isn't firm, but we're looking for a mid-September golf tourney. We had one last year on Veterans Day, but that's always iffy, as you know, for the weather during that time. So we're trying to look at that in September. So we're trying to do more events.
You guys have done golf events before, though, right?
We did last year at Hagen Oaks. We did it was on Veterans Day.
Right.
So it's kind of rainy, though, that day, so it was kind of misty. So it was hard to get a big crowd out. But I think if we move it to September, we'll get a bigger crowd.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So that the date is still to be determined on the golf fundraiser there. But in terms of big upcoming events in the foreseeable future, we have the big auto show.
That's right.
On June 9th. And it's also a bike show.
It's a bike show.
And it starts as a ride. Or it's in the El Dorado Hills Town Center, you said.
We start with 2 areas. We'll start in El Dorado Hills, and we also start over in C&E in Auburn.
Okay.
Which is it's a motorcycle shop in Auburn. In fact, you probably heard about it. Burned down a few years ago, and they've rebuilt. And like Phoenix from the ashes.
Sure.
And so they're one of our sponsors too. So we'll start there. We'll start in El Dorado Hills. We'll do about 100-mile ride and come back.
Right.
We have 2 great ceremonies to honor our fallen at 9 in the morning, and then again at noon.
Okay.
All right. So.
And then you'll have cars and bikes being shown at both locations?
No, just at the El Dorado Hills.
Just El Dorado Hills. Okay, but the ride will take you up to Auburn.
It starts from Auburn and it'll come down to El Dorado Hills. There you go.
Man, I am mixed up like
no problem.
I don't even know what I'm mixed up like. Anyway.
There'll be a ride there. It's a poker run, so there'll be stops where they pick up poker hand cards. And then, again, all the money raised goes back into this memorial fund.
So if you're a local business along the way between Auburn and El Dorado Hills, have you already got all your poker cards?
We've already laid out our stops, but in the future, we'd like to put this on every year. If you want to contact us, we'll be glad to consider your organization or your place of business for a stop.
Nice.
And so coming out of Auburn, we'll probably have 50 people coming out of there. Coming out of El Dorado Hills, we'll probably have over 200 bikes that are leaving.
Right.
And it's going to be led, by the way, by the combat vets. There's an organization out of Stockton. So we get people from all over. Okay. So we'll have people out of Stockton leading. We'll have a parade right down the middle of the street of Town Center as they leave. And so what else can I tell you about it? We have a...
Well, I was going to say, I mean, so for next year, I mean, it's already a perfect time. You know, the event happening in June is all but planned at this point. Now you're just making sure that weather is going to cooperate, which it surely likely will. FWMO.org is the website. Is there a phone number that people can call or
you can call,
or an email info at
FWMO.org.
Right.
Phone number is 916-990-4938. And that's listed on our website, too.
Sure. And that's 916-990-4938, FWMO.org, where you can find out more information about the event on June 9th.
On June 9th, yep.
The whole big auto show, bike ride from Auburn to El Dorado Hills.
And then from El Dorado Hills all the way around the foothills.
Yep.
And back about 100 miles. Okay. And then we'll have... and lunch is included with your tickets, and that's how we raise money. Is the people that enter their bikes and cars? That's where we make money.
Okay. So there's another thing there too. So now, if you got a bike and you want to ride on this thing, So you can also register through the website. And
yeah.
what's the registration fee if you've got a bike and you want to be on?
$25, and we'll buy you lunch.
And they buy you lunch.
So
can't argue with that.
Can't beat that. Yeah.
And it's only 100 miles.
That's right.
Which is nothing on a bike.
Yeah.
I did a bike. Years ago, I did a thing for the Make-A-Wish Foundation when I lived in Florida. This is eons ago. But me and a bunch of my buddies, we were on sport bikes, and we did, and that's a 500-mile ride in a day.
Right, yeah.
And I came out of there, trying to bend my legs back into straight, coming off of that ride. And because it was Florida, by the afternoon, of course, it rained, because every afternoon it rains in Florida. You can set your watch by it. We're on the air this morning with Jim Blatchford with the Fallen Warriors Memorial Organization, FWMO.org. They establish scholarships for students at area schools. They're partnered with 8 high schools in the region. Right now, they give out 8 scholarships a year.
That's right.
$1,000 scholarship for that student to take with them to college. And then they're looking to increase that for future programs into some kind of pool, and hopefully achieving make it more competitive between the 8 schools and offer fewer $5,000.
That's right. Or we'll probably, what we want to do is grandfather the 8 schools, because we promised them. But going forward, we have the opportunity, we have the manpower or the people connections to get up and down the state is what we'd like to do.
Right.
We'd like to be in all the schools. But again, it's raising that fund. And then to look at a bigger pool so more people will compete for that, so it's more interesting to more people.
Right.
And that's the basis of this all, is to make sure that what we're doing keeps the name of the fallen out there.
Right.
And that, what the sacrifice to the country.
And it does it in a great way, because they're a permanent fixture at the school via a memorial plaque.
Right.
The student learns about that, and they take that with them when they go to school.
Exactly.
Or go to college. And then these fundraisers, which are pretty neat, especially the ride. I think that's kind of cool. That's a $25 donation. So if you got a car or a bike and you want to be in that ride. Right. Now, can it be any car?
Any car can go in.
Really?
What we found are the cars don't like to go on the poker run.
Right.
They like to park and display their cars.
Sure.
And which is fine.
Yeah.
And we buy them lunch too. There's a $25 fee for that.
Because if you got like a classic car, you spent many thousands making it all shiny one. You don't want to get, you don't want to get any bug stains on it. But the bikers, they don't care.
And we have, in fact, one of the things we do is put up a target on our bikes that if the closest bug spot to the center of the target wins a prize.
Yeah.
And then, but the cars, we'll have great cars every year. Is always great cars. We'll have this year. We also have the Army is coming with a climbing wall.
Okay,
and so they'll be there, and they'll have the Hummer there. And then I ran into a fellow the other day that has an old fire truck that he has, and he pulls the hose behind it, or the nozzle behind it. So. And we'll have some Jeeps there, some Army Jeeps. And I heard your earlier segment where they had military vehicles. And we'll have those too. So.
Nice. So that's happening June 9th. That's a Saturday.
That's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday in El Dorado Hills, the town center. Be there or be square.
Yeah, there you go.
The Fallen Warriors Memorial Organization, FWMO.org. Or give them a call at 916-990-4938. Learn more about how you can register if you want to participate in the event, or if you just want to show up and look at all the goodies and buy some stuff, and take it from there. Jim, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Man. It's wonderful to be here. Thanks, Lon. And thank you for your efforts here.
Appreciate it, and all the best to your son.
Thanks.
Is he out here visiting Mama?
No, not today. He had to work. So
he had to work.
We saw him last weekend.
Oh, okay.
But that's and I want to say Happy Mother's Day to the Blue Star moms, the Gold Star moms especially, and to my son's mother too.
Of course. Well, glad your son made it home safe. I hope he's adjusting well. I can relate. To him, obviously, and even if he was with the big red one, but he was in the Army.
Yeah.
My name is Max Ramsey. You are listening to Veteran Radio. We're going to take a short break, and we'll come back with some news. This is Max Ramsey again, and you are listening to Veteran Radio.